Alright, up next from the Kenmore series is this blue 11 amp upright vacuum. Doesn't really have a name, but it's basically just a cheap, basic version of a Panasonic. So I've had this now for about, I probably would say 7 years. I could be wrong, as I normally don't keep track of things, but I did got it from the thrift store for $10, and this was pretty much the condition it was in when I found it. It is missing the bumper. It also doesn't have a belt, and it really does need a major cleanup. And then also it doesn't have any attachments on board. But what's pretty rare is that the wand holder that you put onto this, the piece is actually still intact, because normally when I would come across with these Panasonics, these would actually just break off. But other than that, it works for what it is, and I'm just really happy to have one now. I did saw a video of this as a kid from YouTube when someone did a comparison test with like 5 of his Panasonic / Kenmore machines, picking up shredded paper and such. And this was like one of the 5th, but in particular, the one that was like in the middle section, there were like on the left 2 of the progressive uprights from like the first generation, and the other 2 from my right was like another Kenmore, but it was like a green model, and then the next one on the right was a blue cheap Panasonic that's, again, pretty much the same thing, but it's in a teal blue automatic height adjuster, 12 amps and such. My brother has the green version of it. But anyways, yeah, I would probably say though that series really did make a mistake killing these machines off, because these were, in my opinion, one of the better Kenmores that they've ever sold. It's very basic, it's powerful, it's very sturdy, unlike if you were to compare it to like a newer progressive, like the IntelliClean models, for example. They just feel wobbly, and it just feels like something's about to break. But yeah, if they would have just at least kept this from the cheap basic line and just renamed it the Quick Clean, unlike the one that I'm about to show next. But yeah, these are just way better machines overall, and even there weren't too many Panasonic dealers around the country that sold these kind of machines, unlike series that pretty much sold more of these than the Panasonic. Because personally, I would prefer to go to a vacuum store and buy a Panasonic over a Kenmore. But if I didn't have a Panasonic dealer in my area and was still dead set on one, I would have easily went to Sears and bought one of these. It's pretty much like going to Sam's Club and picking out a Eureka commercial or a Dirt Devil commercial upright as well, if you really wanted something that was on a budget over something that you would find at a vacuum store. I mean, this would have been a great option to get. What I do think is pretty interesting about this model is that this only has 2 height adjuster knobs, low and high. And I think that's pretty silly, because if you were to just do that, you should have just might as well left this machine automatic instead, or if you were to get the model that was basically a step up over this, it had like the 4 selector knobs, and then also had a headlight and a stretch style hose, which I honestly prefer over the fixed style, just for looks wise. But this is actually a good hose too. But I also would have preferred to get that one over this, or might as well just get a Panasonic that's basically a free floating style head instead. So, but other than that, just like the other basic Panasonics, it doesn't have a handle release pedal. You just have to put your foot onto this to step onto the nozzle. It has just a takes type U bags with the electrostatic filter underneath, +1 on the motor cover, and not to mention the motor suppressor filter that wraps around the motor. Kind of hard to do this with one hand, and based on the background, it appears that the kids are done with school for the year, so, but it's not really going to change much by the demonstration of the video. So anyways, without further ado, I'll go ahead and get this started. Yeah, it doesn't look like this is back on all the way. There we go. I don't like doing videos that just don't usually go the way I want them to be, but there might be at one point where I would probably do a redo of this with it all cleaned up and such, without any distractions or anything that could potentially go wrong. But without further ado, let's turn this on. So yeah, as I mentioned before, there was a model step up over this. I would definitely love to find one of those someday, and then I would also would love to find the black version of this as well, especially the ones that are in both the gold and the silver decal. And also, I would even love to find the black version that was also the step up over this as well, because I know they've also made one with the gold decal and I believe silver as well. I've seen a YouTube video of one with the silver decal, I believe, but this is basically the model of what this one actually is, in case you wanted to see that. But yeah, like I said, it's just a shame they really killed these off, because not only these were extremely simple and pleasant machines, but also they even still got machine features that not even the direct drive models can compete against, like the back port inlet valve, or even the bypass valve as well. Well, actually some of the, or maybe all of the direct drive models have that, but definitely not where you can extend the hose in the back. No way they would compete against that, especially for a fixed hose. That's even better than a stretch one like the IntelliClean model, for example, because I hate when the hose would just easily make the machine tip over and such. But anyways, hope you've enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.